Today you will learn one truth. Your mind is your greatest weapon, and most people never sharpen it. They let doubt, fear, and distraction slip in like thieves in the night. But you, if you choose, can rise above all that. You can build a mind so strong, so disciplined, so sharply directed that nothing and no one can shake your inner world. Strength begins with mastery of thought. What you permit in your mind is exactly what you permit in your life. Weak thoughts create weak outcomes. Dominant thoughts create dominant results. When negativity knocks, you do not open the door. When fear whispers, you do not negotiate, you shut it down. You command your mind, never the other way around. To build a mind that cannot be disturbed, you must build focus. Ruthless focus. Focus that ignores noise, excuses, and comfort. Every day, discipline your mind through action. Reading with intention, working with precision, and pushing yourself when your emotions beg you to stop. Discipline is not punishment, it is the forging of steel. Then guard your environment. Your surroundings are either sharpening your mind or poisoning it. Cut off anything that weakens you, negative people, pointless entertainment, habits that drain your strength. A powerful mind cannot grow in a weak environment. When challenges strike, and they will, you do not crumble. You convert adversity into fuel. You ask not, why is this happening, but how can this strengthen me? A strong mind never bows to difficulty. It grows from it. It becomes unshakable because it has survived pressure. Above all, speak to yourself with certainty. Your words are commands. Your actions must follow those commands. Every step you take must align with your highest purpose. No hesitation, no doubt, no retreat. A mind that cannot be disturbed is not born, it is built. Built through mastery of thought, relentless discipline, powerful environment, emotional control, and unwavering persistence. Build this mind and your life will rise with it. Build this mind and nothing in this world will have the power to break you. Now stand firm. Strengthen your mind and step into the world as someone who cannot be disturbed. Master your thoughts or they will master you. This is not a platitude. It is the law that separates winners from the rest. Every decision, every action, every habit begins as a single thought. If your thoughts are weak, scattered, or reactive, your life will be the same, exposed to every gust of opinion, fear, and fleeting desire. If your thoughts are disciplined, purposeful, and dominant, your actions will align, your days will cohere, and you will move through resistance with the precision of someone who has practiced inevitability. Begin by recognizing the battlefield, your own mind. It is noisy, littered with past failures, sly self-criticism, and rehearsed excuses. These voices are pests. They steal time and focus. They whisper distractions. The first act of strength is refusal, an absolute refusal to entertain thoughts that do not serve your chosen future. When a negative thought arrives, you do not analyze it for hours, you label it and eject it. When doubt approaches, you do not negotiate. You respond with evidence, past wins, present commitments, and the next indisputable action. Neglecting this is the primary reason talented people remain mediocre. But refusal alone is not enough. You must replace the junk with iron. Intentional thought is practice. Every morning, choose the dominant idea that will govern your day. Not vague optimism, a single actionable objective. Repeat it. Visualize it with sensory detail. The brain cannot tell the difference between vividly imagined action and performed action. Use that to your advantage. Feed your mind with images of success, precise steps, and the feeling of completion. This programs the subconscious to see pathways where before there were obstacles. Language shapes thought. Speak to yourself with the voice of command. I will complete this task, not I hope to. I am disciplined, not I try. Eliminate softening phrases that open the door to compromise. Your words are the scaffolding of your inner architecture. Build it strong. When you make a promise to yourself, even a small one, keep it. Integrity toward your own commitments compounds. 1,000 small kept promises make your mind reliable. 1,000 broken ones make it brittle and easily swayed. Design strict mental routines. Guarded time blocks for focused work. Deliberate reading that stretches your thinking, and periods of silence to let ideas consolidate. The mind is like a muscle. Stress it correctly and it grows. Stress it wrongly and it withers. Avoid multitasking, which steals your best thinking and trains you to be easily interrupted. Instead, schedule single-purpose sessions and protect them as non-negotiable. This is how depth is built and how excellence becomes habitual. Control your input. The human mind is porous. What you consume becomes you. Trim the sources of mental junk. Toxic social chatter, sensational news, and passive scrolling. Replace them with purposeful inputs, books that challenge, conversations that sharpen, and mentors who model the behaviors you want. Your environment will either be a training ground or a trench. Choose the training ground, even if it means temporary isolation. The mind that cannot be disturbed does not socialize with weakness. Emotional mastery is the next frontier. Thoughts and feelings are partners. They influence each other constantly. Learn to observe emotions rather than be driven by them. When anger flares, do not act. Analyze the trigger and decide on a rational response. When fear tightens the chest, do not retreat. Interrogate the fear, break it into manageable parts, and act on the smallest next step. Emotions provide data. Use them. Do not worship them. Emotional discipline is not suppression. It is the deliberate channeling of energy toward productive action. Persistence is not merely enduring. It is the daily act of choosing powerful thought in the face of comfortable excuses. The mind that cannot be disturbed is not emotionless. It is resolute. It remembers why the difficult work matters and returns to it again and again. Celebrate small wins not as endpoints, but as proof that your thinking is aligning with reality. Use these proofs to reinforce your mental circuitry. Each success implants confidence. Each failure offers a lesson. Both are necessary if you are honest with yourself. Finally, embrace deliberate solitude. Strength is forged in the quiet, where you confront your true motives and test your limits. In solitude, you see where your thinking is lazy, where your plans lack teeth, and where your courage is thin. Use that time to write, to iterate, and to refine the narrative you carry about yourself. The strongest minds are not fueled by external approval. They are architects of their internal story. Master your thoughts or they will master you. Say it until it is embedded. Practice it until it is automatic. Live it until outward storms collapse harmlessly against your calm. This is not some feel-good strategy. It is the operating system of excellence. If you are serious about winning, begin now. Refuse the weak, command the powerful, and build a mind that makes every other force in life irrelevant. Train this mind daily with small, disciplined actions and ruthless consistency, and you will find that chaos bows to order and opportunity to your will. Begin, guard your mind like a fortress. Allow nothing negative to enter. This is not decorative language. It is a tactical order. Your mind is a citadel from which every victory or defeat issues. If you leave the gates ajar, unwelcome thoughts, poisonous doubts, and corrosive influences will flood in and neutralize your will before you ever act. A fortress is not built by accident. It is planned, fortified, and defended with ruthless consistency. Treat your mind the same way. First, understand that walls are only effective when gates are controlled. Every habit, conversation, and piece of media is either an entry point or a battlement. You must audit them with brutal honesty. Which relationships demand your attention but return only criticism and chaos? Which routines fill your time with trivial noise and steal your ambition? Cut them. Do not plead or negotiate with drains on your energy. Replace them with people and practices that sharpen you. A fortress with a single unlocked gate is a liability. A life with a single unchecked habit is the same. Second, install sentries, clear rules about what you will and will not allow into your interior life. No softening phrases. I'll just check for a minute. I'll only watch this once. I'll just reply. These are the underminers of resolve. Create strict protocols. No social media before work, no negative conversations without a purpose, no doom scrolling. When a thought or input arrives that is not aligned with your objectives, treat it as contraband. Confiscate it, interrogate it, and if it has no actionable value, destroy it. Your mind must be a controlled environment where only the useful and the true are permitted. Third, discipline your intake like a commander rationing supplies. The human mind is not a landfill. It is a workshop that requires high-quality materials. Feed it with literature that stretches your thinking, with idea that tests your assumptions, and with mentors who have already walked the path you are on. Consume content that teaches craft, strategy, and endurance. Avoid sentimental distractions that flatter your weaknesses. The fortress that endures is stocked with strategic plans, not with trivial diversions. Fourth, practice immediate expulsion. Negative thoughts are like infiltrators. The longer they linger, the more they organize and recruit. When a corrosive thought appears, do not feed it with analysis or sympathy. Label it as false intelligence and expel it immediately. Replace it with a corrective thought, a plan, a fact, a memory of a past victory. Refusal is an act of power. The mind that tolerates internal sabotage is surrendering its authority. You are either the commander of your inner domain or you are its victim. Fifth, build defensive rituals that make invasion difficult. Start each day with a short, fierce routine, a declaration of purpose, a quick review of your non-negotiables, and a prioritized action that proves your resolve. Rituals calibrate the gatekeepers. They condition your nervous system to expect discipline first and distraction later. Over time, these rituals become the drawbridge you automatically lower for productivity and raise against intrusion. Sixth, master the terrain by knowing your triggers. What times of day weaken your will? What people provoke your worst reactions? What situations leave you vulnerable to self-pity or blame? Study these patterns like an enemy's map. Anticipate the ambushes and prepare countermeasures. If certain settings invite despair, avoid them or enter with a plan. A fortress is secure because it knows the lay of the land, so must your mind. Seventh, use active reinforcement. Strengthening the mind is not passive, it requires exercise. Read Sends into Battle, books that teach discipline, biographies that model resilience, manuals on strategy and human nature. Practice decisive action in small things until the muscles of resolve are iron hard. Keep a ledger of promises you make to yourself and keep it honest. Every kept promise is another stone in the wall. Eighth, cultivate a network of allies who understand the stakes. Fortresses rarely stand alone. They thrive when connected to supply lines and neighboring strongholds. Align with people who push you, who call out weakness, and who celebrate discipline. Avoid sympathizers who enable complacency. The company you keep either provides reinforcements or supplies the enemy. Choose allies who know how to wage constructive warfare on your limitations. Ninth, prepare for siege. At some point, external forces will test your defenses. Criticism, failure, loss. A fortress prepared for siege has stockpiles and escape routes and clear command. Your mind must have reserves of perspective, values that outlast immediate outcomes, rituals that return you to center, and a commitment to long-term objectives that dwarfs short-term discomfort. When under assault, do not panic. Assess, ration your energy, and execute the plan you practiced before the siege. Finally, remember that a fortress without purpose is only an empty monument. Walls are built to protect a mission, a commanding objective that justifies sacrifice. Clarify that mission with brutal specificity. If your purpose is vague, the fortress will feel like prison. If it is sharp and urgent, the fortress becomes a launch pad. Keep that mission clear. Write it where you can see it, and let it govern every gate decision you make. Guard your mind like a fortress. Allow nothing negative to enter. Say it until it is a reflex. Enforce it until it becomes a culture. Build it with intention, stock it with truth, and man its walls with unwavering discipline. Then watch as the outside noise, the petty assaults, and the swirling chaos of life strike the stone and break. Your mind will remain intact, And from that secure vantage, you will move with precision, power, and purpose. Build unbreakable focus through disciplined daily habits. This is the foundation of every extraordinary achievement, and the reason most people never rise above average. They chase motivation instead of constructing systems. They wait for clarity instead of creating it. They hope for focus, but live in a way that destroys it. If you want your mind to become a laser, sharp, directed, and unstoppable, you must design your days with discipline so tight that distraction has no room to survive. Start with the truth. Focus is not a feeling, it is a skill. Skills are trained, stretched, and strengthened through repetition. You do not wake up with unbreakable focus. You manufacture it with structure. That structure begins the moment you open your eyes. Instead of reaching for your phone, you reach for your purpose. Instead of beginning the day in reaction, you begin it with direction. Your morning is not a convenience, it is a battlefield where you either seize control or surrender it. Construct a morning ritual so disciplined that it pulls your mind into clarity. Movement, silence, reading, planning, whatever anchors you to your mission. Do it daily until it becomes automatic. Next, dismantle the myth of multitasking. Multitasking is mental sabotage disguised as productivity. It fractures your attention and trains your brain to seek constant stimulation. Unbreakable focus demands single target execution. Pick one task, name it, define what finished looks like, then attack it with full cognitive power. No switching, no checking, no half-doing. This is how deep work is formed, sustained concentration without interruption. The more you practice this, even for short intervals, the stronger your mental stamina. A becomes your environment shapes your focus, whether you admit it or not. A chaotic environment breeds a chaotic mind. Your workspace must be engineered for achievement. Remove visual clutter, eliminate unnecessary noise, and create a layout that signals seriousness. Tools within reach, distractions out of sight. If your environment is sloppy, your focus will be sloppy. Treat your workspace like a laboratory where precision matters. When you enter it, your brain should know this is where results are produced. Now bring discipline into your time structure. Focus dies when time is vague. Build your day in blocks, clear, protected, and purposeful. Assign specific hours to deep work, learning, planning, and rest. Guard these blocks like a soldier guards a post. During a focus block, your only job is the task before you. If someone interrupts, they are interrupting the mission. If your phone buzzes, it is attempting to steal your vision. Discipline means you say no before distraction even arrives, because you've already decided what matters. To reinforce these habits, use the power of triggers. A trigger is a cue that initiates a focused behavior. A certain chair you only sit in for work. A playlist that signals deep thinking. A timer that marks the start of a session. Triggers train your brain to shift into work mode quickly, reducing resistance. When your environment and routines contain these anchors, focus becomes not an act of force, but an automatic response. But disciplined habits don't survive without accountability. You need metrics, not feelings. Each night, review your day. Did you stick to your focus blocks? Did you complete your priority tasks? Were you pulled into distractions? Score yourself honestly. This daily review trains self-awareness, and self-awareness strengthens discipline. If you broke your focus, identify why and adjust. Build the habit of correct eye on not self-criticism, but self-command. This is how consistency is born. Eliminate hidden drains. The mind cannot maintain strong focus if the body is exhausted, overstimulated, or poorly fueled. Sleep, nutrition, and movement are not luxuries. They are components of mental discipline. A tired mind is vulnerable to distraction because it lacks the energy to resist impulses. A well-rested mind, however, has sharper decision-making and stronger self-control. Treat your physical habits as part of your focus system because they are one of the most powerful ways to build unbreakable focus is by training your tolerance for boredom. Great work is not always glamorous. It requires repetition, refinement, and long stretches of effort without immediate reward. Most people flee boredom through scrolling, entertainment, or unnecessary tasks. You, however, must learn to sit in the quiet and keep working. When you build the ability to stay locked in even when the task feels slow, you gain a superpower, the ability to outlast everyone who quits the moment the work becomes uncomfortable. Another essential habit is mental resetting. Between major tasks, take short, intentional breaks to reset your cognitive energy. Focus is a finite resource, and pushing without breaks leads to burnout and poor decisions. A few minutes of breathing, walking, or stretching recharges your mind and prepares you for the next deep session. This is not laziness. It is strategic maintenance. Finally, remember this truth. Discipline is not about forcing yourself. It is about designing a life that demands less forcing. When your habits are structured, your environment is optimized, your triggers are set, your time is organized, and your mission is clear, focus becomes a natural state. You don't have to fight for it, you operate from it. Build unbreakable focus through disciplined daily habits. Repeat it until it becomes your identity. Live it until distraction feels foreign to you. Practice it until your mind moves with direction and certainty. And when others wonder how you stay so concentrated, how you achieve so much with such intensity, you will know the truth. You didn't rely on motivation. You built a system. You engineered your mind. You forged your focus with discipline. And once that focus becomes unbreakable, your results become undeniable. Eliminate excuses. Only results deserve your attention. If you want to rise above the masses, this line must become a law in your life. Excuses are the currency of the ordinary, cheap, abundant, and worthless. They give temporary comfort, but cost long-term power. Every time you justify a delay, every time you rationalize your inaction, every time you blame circumstances, you surrender your strength to something outside yourself. Results, on the other hand, are the language of the discipline. They are the only proof of effort, the only evidence of intention, and the only metric that matters in the real world. Start by understanding this truth. Excuses are stories you tell yourself to avoid responsibility. They can sound convincing, emotional, even logical, but they are lies designed to protect your comfort at the expense of your future. When you say, "I didn't have time," what you really mean is, "I didn't make it a priority." When you say, "I wasn't ready," you mean, "I was afraid to begin." When you say, "It wasn't the right moment," you mean, "I chose comfort over growth." If you want to eliminate excuses, you must expose them for what they are. Self-betrayal disguised as explanation. To kill excuses, adopt a mindset of absolute responsibility. Everything in your control is your fault. Everything outside your control is your opportunity to adapt. You do not wait for perfect conditions. You create progress under imperfect T1s. Discipline means acting even when you don't feel like it, pushing even when the path is unclear, and completing the task even when no one is watching. You must see excuses as poison, not small weaknesses, but threats to your mission. Next, tighten your standards. Most excuses come from having standards that are soft, vague, or negotiable. You say you'll wake up early, but you allow yourself to snooze. You say you'll work out, but you skip when you're tired. You say you'll execute your plan, but you let emotion interrupt it. A person with weak standards will always have strong excuses. A person with strong standards never needs them. Create non-negotiables. Treat your commitments like promises. Build daily rituals that are performed regardless of mood. The more you honor your own word, the less room excuses have to live. Your environment plays a critical role. Surround yourself with people who hold you accountable, not those who enable your limitations. If the individuals around you accept your excuses, you will begin accepting them too. Choose company that challenges you, calls you out, and demands improvement. Strong people respect results. Weak people trade excuses. Align with the strong. Distance yourself from the weak. The mind grows in the environment you place it in. Destroy procrastination at its roots. Procrastination is nothing but the breeding ground of excuses. The longer you wait, the more reasons your mind invents to delay. You must act quickly and decisively. When you have a task, begin immediately. Not tomorrow, not later, not when you feel inspired. Action kills excuses. Movement eliminates hesitation. The moment you start, resistance weakens. The longer you delay, resistance multiplies. Train yourself to be someone who moves the instant a decision is made. Another powerful way to eliminate excuses is to track your results with brutal honesty. Keep a daily scorecard. Did you complete your tasks? Did you stay disciplined? Did you execute or did you rationalize? Numbers expose truth. Measurement destroys delusion. When you see the gap between your intentions and your actual results, excuses lose their power. Self-awareness becomes your weapon. Improvement becomes your duty. You must also embrace discomfort. Most excuses come from a single source, the desire to avoid discomfort. People avoid difficult tasks, hard conversations, tough challenges, and disciplined routines because they want emotional ease. But greatness is built in the uncomfortable zones. When you train yourself to push through discomfort without complaint, excuses die automatically. Instead of asking, how can I make this easier? Ask, how can I get stronger? The mind that seeks strength outgrows the mind that seeks comfort. Learn to detach from feelings. Your emotions do not determine your actions. Your principles do. You may feel tired, but the task must be finished. You may feel unmotivated, but the plan must be executed. You may feel uncertain, but the step must be taken. If you let feelings lead, you will always find excuses. If you let discipline lead, you will always find results. Train yourself to act according to commitment, not mood. Finally, build a result-based identity. See yourself as someone who delivers, not someone who explains, someone who finishes, not someone who intends, someone who produces outcomes, not someone who produces excuses. Every action must align with this identity. Every day must contribute to it. When you see yourself as a person of execution, excuses feel unnatural, even insulting. Eliminate excuses, only results deserve your attention. Say it until it becomes instinct. Live it until it becomes your nature. Excuses weaken your character, waste your time, and chain you to mediocrity. Results build momentum. Strengthen your mind and move your life forward. Choose which side you stand on. Choose the path few are willing to walk. Choose the discipline that transforms ambition into achievement. From this moment forward, evaluate your life by one question and one question only: did I produce results today? Your environment shapes your mind. Control who and what surrounds you. This is not a suggestion, it is a strategic command. The people, places, sounds, and objects you tolerate in your life are the soil from which your thinking grows. Rich soil yields powerful roots. Poisoned soil yields stunted plants. If you want a mind that is sharp, disciplined, and unstoppable, you must architect your environment with the same ruthlessness you would use to plan a campaign. Every input either strengthens your intention or dilutes it. Choose accordingly. Begin with people. Social relationships are the primary conveyor belts of norms, beliefs, and energy. Casual listeners become casual doers. Complainers breed complaint. Winners breed winners. If those around you excuse mediocrity, your standards will erode. If they idolize distraction, your attention will fray. You must curate your circle like a general assigns lieutenants. Promote those who demand accountability. Demote those who normalize laziness, and sever ties with those who consistently diminish you. This is not cruelty, it is preservation. Longevity in any pursuit requires allies who raise the bar, call foul on weakness, and mirror the behaviors you intend to make permanent. Next, control your physical space. Clutter is thinking's enemy. A messy desk births messy decisions. An office with crumbs and open tabs trains your brain for scattered effort. Design spaces that signal seriousness. Clean surfaces, intentional tools, and an organized workflow tell your mind that business happens here. Reserve specific areas for specific activities. A chair only for deep work, a corner only for reading, a table only for planning. When your body enters those spaces, your mind obeys. Remove visual stimuli that demand attention, unnecessary screens, loud colors, chaotic decor. Instead, introduce functional objects that nudge productivity, a visible priority list, a timer, a notebook with your mission statement. Small cues shape massive behavior. Digital inputs are the silent assassins of progress. Notifications are permission slips to be interrupted, and interruptions erode identity. Declare digital borders. Silence non-essential notifications. Create do not disturb. Periods that are enforced without apology. Unsubscribe from channels that feed anxiety, gossip, or empty distraction. Curate your feeds intentionally. Follow creators who teach, challenge, and model the craft you're building. Treat your browser like a controlled warehouse, not an all-you-can-eat buffet. The algorithm does not have your mission, it has engagement. You must outsmart it by limiting exposure and engineering feeds that educate and elevate. Sound matters. Noise fragments thought. Silence restores it. If you work in an environment that's filled with unstructured noise, you'll become an expert at divided attention. Use sound strategically. White noise or focused playlists during deep work. Silence during heavy planning, and stimulating audio for learning. If certain people or places create a constant low-level drain, avoid them during high-value hours. Your ears are gateways to mood and focus. Defend them. Schedule your proximity to inspiration. People often treat inspiration like a mood that arrives randomly, but environments can manufacture it. Keep books you respect within arm's reach. Display artifacts that remind you of standards you refuse to lower. A notebook with your worst day and what you learned. A photo of a mentor who demanded excellence. A timeline of your milestones. These artifacts are daily anchors that recalibrate your expectations when fatigue or doubt creeps in. Ritualize the transition between environments. Too often we carry the chaos of one space into the next. Create short, fierce rituals that mark the shift. 2 minutes of breath work before work, a 5-minute walk before an important call, a one-line plan written before opening your laptop. These micro-rituals are drawbridges that allow the mind to drop old states and embrace the new one. They are the difference between performing and merely existing. Guard your time like you guard your reputation. Time spent in low-value environments compounds into low-value lives. Audit your week and ask sharply, where did my attention leak? Who cost me focus? Which routine returned nothing but comfort? Stop explaining and start excising. Replace those hours with environments that produce outcomes. Mastermind sessions, skill-focused workshops, deliberate practice spaces, and time sprints of deep work. Environment is not merely backdrop. It is a production system. Test and adapt. No architecture is perfect from day one. Run experiments, change one element for a week. A new workspace layout, a different morning routine, or a reduced set of social engagements, and measure the result. Did your output increase? Did your mental clarity sharpen? Keep what works. Discard what doesn't. Iteration is a form of intellectual hygiene. It prevents entropy. Remember the moral component. Environments influence character. Tolerating chaos in your surroundings teaches you to tolerate chaos within yourself. If you allow clutter, gossip, and distractions to remain, you are training your mind to accept mediocrity. If you build a strict, refined environment, you are training your mind to demand excellence. That training compounds. Days become months. Months become the person you are known as. Finally, be unforgiving about exceptions. The one-off becomes the pattern if you let it. A single late night out, a single unchecked friend, a single evening of scrolling turns into habit when you tolerate it. Make rules and enforce them even when enforcement stings. The short-term sting of boundaries is the birth of long-term power. Your environment shapes your mind. Control who and what surrounds you. Say it until it is operational. Architect your circle, your space, your inputs, and your rituals. Treat every element of your life as either a tool for sharpening or a weapon that will dull. You control the surroundings and the mind will follow. Control the mind and nothing outside your walls will ever dictate who you become. Turn adversity into fuel. Treat challenges as invitations to grow. This is the mindset that separates those who collapse under pressure from those who rise because of it. Life will test you repeatedly and without warning. You have no control over when storms arrive, but you have absolute control over how you respond. You can shrink, complain, and retreat like most people, or you can use every difficulty as raw material to become stronger, sharper, and more unbreakable. Adversity is not the enemy, it is the furnace that forges those who refuse to be ordinary. Start by redefining struggle. Most people see challenges as punishment, as reasons to quit, as proof that things aren't meant to be. This is weak thinking. Challenges are not barriers, they are signals. They tell you exactly where your potential is locked and where your growth is waiting. Every obstacle exposes a part of you that needs upgrading: patience, discipline, courage, strategy, emotional control. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? The strong ask, what is this trying to teach me? That single shift transforms adversity from a weight that crushes you into a ladder that lifts you. You must develop the instinct to move toward difficulty, not away from it. Avoidance makes you fragile. Confrontation makes you formidable. When something scares you, step into it. When something feels uncomfortable, stay with it. Growth rarely feels good in the moment, but the pain of discipline is infinitely smaller than the pain of regret. The world belongs to the ones who are willing to act in spite of fear, while everyone else waits for perfect conditions that never arrive. Adversity also forces clarity. When life squeezes you, your true priorities and values emerge. Hard M. Omens strip away illusions and excuses. They reveal what matters, what doesn't, and who you are when comfort is gone. This clarity is priceless. Many people drift through life with soft goals and vague intentions, but adversity sharpens your focus like a blade against stone. Use it to refine your mission. Use it to reshape your trajectory. Learn to analyze challenges strategically. When something goes wrong, don't panic. Don't default to emotion. Break the situation down like a tactician. What exactly is the problem? What part of it is within your control? What are the possible responses? What is the lesson hidden in the difficulty? The person who can stay calm under pressure, who can think while others freeze, becomes unstoppable. Control in chaos is the ultimate competitive edge. Your attitude during adversity determines your altitude after it. If you internalize hardship as defeat, your confidence dies. But if you internalize hardship as training, your confidence expands. Every time you survive something tough, you gain evidence of your resilience. You collect proof that you can carry heavy burdens. That proof becomes mental armor. When the next obstacle arrives, you do not wonder if you can survive it. You already know you can because you've done it before. Another key: hardship builds emotional toughness. Weak people fall apart when their feelings overwhelm them. Strong people use emotions as signals, not dictators. When stress rises, breathe deeper. When frustration appears, slow down. When fear spikes, act anyway. Mastering your emotional responses during adversity is one of the highest forms of personal power. You become immune to chaos because you have trained yourself to remain centered while others lose control. Surround yourself with difficulty intentionally. Lift heavier weights. Take on harder work. Learn skills that stretch your mind. Push yourself bay. On your normal limits. Voluntary hardship prepares you for involuntary hardship. When you choose discomfort on your own terms, life's surprises lose their sting. You've already trained for them. Growth becomes your default response. One of the most powerful ways to transform adversity into fuel is by documenting your battles. Write down what you faced, how you felt, how you responded, and what you learned. Review those pages when you feel overwhelmed. They will remind you of your strength. They will show you the patterns of your resilience. They will prove that you have already survived what once felt impossible. Reflection turns random struggle into structured growth. Never forget, adversity exposes the truth about your circle. Pay attention. When things get hard, watch who supports you, who disappears, who criticizes, and who encourages. Hard times reveal loyalty, character, and alignment. Use adversity as a filter. Keep those who stand with you. Release those who stand against you. This pruning strengthens your environment and ensures your future challenges are met with stronger allies. Lastly, commit to turning every challenge into a step upward. Do not waste pain. Do not waste difficulty. Do not waste the lessons delivered through discomfort. Every setback can become an upgrade if you refuse to fold. Every failure can become a foundation if you extract the wisdom from it. Every disappointment can become direction if you interpret it correctly. This is how warriors think. This is how leaders grow. This is how strong minds are forged. Turn adversity into fuel. Treat challenges as invitations to grow. Repeat it until it becomes instinct. Live it until pressure excites you rather than scares you. Practice it until every hardship becomes a catalyst. When you stop viewing adversity as an interruption and start treating it as a teacher, you step into a level of strength that ordinary people will never touch. You become the kind of person who rises in storms, operates under pressure, and grows through every test life throws your way. And once you master that, nothing, absolutely nothing, can break you. Speak victory, think victory, act with relentless purpose, because the world does not reward the timid, it rewards the self-directed. The words you speak create the atmosphere you live in. The thoughts you cultivate determine the limits of your life. And the actions you take broadcast to the world exactly who you believe you are. If your speech is weak, your thinking becomes weak. If your thinking is weak, your actions collapse. And if your actions collapse, so does your destiny. Victory begins as a whisper inside your mind before it ever becomes a shout the world can hear. Every time you open your mouth, you are either reinforcing strength or broadcasting doubt. People speak in ways that betray their insecurities, phrases like I hope, I wish, I can't, maybe one day. These are the languages of people who have surrendered before the fight even begins. Replace them with words that anchor your identity. I will, I choose, I commit, I dominate. These aren't motivational slogans, they are mental commands. When you speak with certainty, your mind reorganizes itself around that certainty. When you speak defeat, you train your mind to expect defeat. Your voice becomes the architect of your internal world, and your internal world becomes the architect of your external results. If you want victory, speak like someone who expects it, not someone begging for it. Thinking victory means refusing to allow doubt to sit in the throne of your mind. Doubt is not a harmless visitor. It is a thief that steals potential, confidence, and opportunity. The strongest minds are not the minds without fear or insecurity. They are the minds that refuse tea. Oh, negotiate with them. When your thoughts try to sabotage you with excuses or fear, you crush them with intention. You redirect your mind like a commander directing troops. You remind yourself, I am in charge here. Not the fear, not the past, not the opinions of others. Thinking victory means building an inner environment that empowers you instead of crippling you. It means choosing thoughts that elevate you, not thoughts that imprison you. Acting with relentless purpose is where most people fail, because this is where talk ends and truth begins. Purpose without action is self-delusion. The world is full of people who speak boldly and think big but move like cowards. They are paralyzed by perfection, comfort, laziness, or fear of judgment. A strong mind does not wait for motivation. It commands movement. It does not wait for circumstances. It creates them. Relentless purpose means waking up each day with a mission and refusing to leave the battlefield until something has been conquered. It means treating every hour like an investment, not something to casually spend. It means refusing to drift, refusing to coast, refusing to operate at half strength because purpose demands your full power. When your speech, thoughts, and actions align, you become unstoppable. Most people fail because their mind is fragmented. They think strength but speak weakness. They speak ambition but act lazily. They act inconsistently while expecting consistent results. Alignment is power. When you speak victory, you program your mind for victory. When you think victory, you condition your emotions for victory. When you act with purpose, you build the life that victory requires. This is how strong minds are built, not through luck, not through comfort, not through empty motivation, but through deliberate internal alignment that forces the external world to respond. Your purpose should feel like a pressure that never leaves your shoulders, not a burden, but a force, a pull, a demand. Purpose is not something you wait for, it's something you step into. If you treat your goals casually, your results will treat you the same way. Speak with conviction so strong that your words intimidate your excuses. Think with clarity so sharp that your doubts have nowhere to hide. Act with discipline so consistent that your results become inevitable. This is how warriors are forged. This is how leaders rise. This is how individuals build minds so powerful that nothing can shake them. Your voice sets the tone. Your thoughts set the course. Your actions set the standard. Together they build an identity that does not flinch under pressure, does not crumble under uncertainty, and does not bend to adversity. When you live this way, victory is no longer an achievement. It becomes your normal state of existence. Speak victory. Think victory. Act with relentless purpose. Not once, not sometimes, every single day. Because the person who wins in life is not the one who had the easiest path, the most talent, or the loudest supporters. It is the one who built themselves from the inside out until the world had no choice but to match the strength of their mind. Emotional control is the mark of true strength. If you cannot command your feelings, you will be commanded by them, jerked around by every insult, setback, praise, or trivial irritation that crosses your path. Strength isn't the absence of feeling. It is the capacity to feel without surrendering your choices to those feelings. People who mistake emotional reactivity for authenticity are living lie-down lives, authentic in display, powerless in consequence. The truly powerful feel fully and choose deliberately. Start by recognizing that emotions are information, not orders. Anger tells you where a boundary was crossed. Fear indicates perceived risk. Sadness signals loss. Each is data. You extract what's useful and you discard the rest. The moment you treat emotion as an order, I must act on this now, you abdicate leadership of your inner world. Train yourself to pause. Pause long enough to translate. Surge into a question, what is this trying to tell me? What action would serve the mission rather than satisfy a reflex? That fraction of delay is the fulcrum of power. Control requires language. Name the feeling precisely. Don't say I'm upset. Say I'm irritated by X because it threatens Y. Precise naming converts vague storms into manageable weather. It brings the emotional event into the realm of strategy instead of theater. When you can label a feeling, you reduce its intensity and regain cognitive access. This simple habit, precise naming, is a surgical tool against chaos. Next, build regulatory rituals. When stress spikes, have a protocol ready. 3 deep breaths, a 60-second walk, a 2-minute writing dump, or a fixed breathing pattern. Rituals are not soft coping. They are tactical resets. They buy clarity. They prevent small fires from becoming conflagrations. Champions know exactly how to slow their heart, cool their blood, and bring the mind back to the task. Practice those rituals until they become automatic responses, not optional luxuries. Emotional control is also about environment and input control. Don't show up for battles you cannot win. If certain conversations, people, or media consistently provoke you out of proportion, change the terrain. Strength isn't proving you can handle poison. It's refusing to ingest it. You would not train a fighter by making them spar while sick. Do not train your mind with constant provocation. Choose environments that allow you to exercise control, then practice control in progressively harder settings. Another critical discipline is narrative mastery. You interpret events through stories. 2 people face the same setback. One says, this proves I'm a failure. The other says, this is a problem to solve. The stories you habitually tell are emotional engines. Make those stories work for you. Build defoul. LT interpretations that prioritize agency, learning, and future action. When you get hit, narrate the version that preserves your ability to respond effectively. Rehearse those narratives until they are reflexive. Resilience grows from repeated exposure to manageable stress. Seek controlled difficulty so your emotional system learns recovery, not collapse. Take on tasks that stretch you just beyond comfort, tough conversations, public speaking, hard workouts. Each controlled exposure is a rehearsal for the inevitable larger storms. You'll discover your threshold rising and your emotional reactivity lowering. Strength compounds when you deliberately train it. Boundaries are essential. Emotional control does not mean accepting abuse or silent endurance. It means defining what you will tolerate and acting decisively when those lines are crossed. Saying no, ending conversations, walking away. These are strength behaviors, not weaknesses. Respect yourself enough to remove yourself from corrosive dynamics. When you hold boundaries consistently, your emotional field stabilizes because the triggers shrink. Accountability matters. Keep a short ledger of moments when emotions hijacked you, what happened, what you felt, how you responded, what you could have done differently. Review weekly. This is not self-flagellation, it's field intelligence. Patterns will emerge. Maybe mornings are weak, or inboxes trigger you, or certain people are consistent accelerants. With that knowledge, redesign the environment and your rituals accordingly. Practice verbal economy. Many emotional escalations are fueled by words tossed without aim. Speak less when heated. State facts, not accusations. Use short, controlled phrases that protect your position and preserve options. Loud grandstanding is for the insecure. The strong communicate with economy and clarity because they don't need to win argum. Hence to feel whole. Physical mastery is non-negotiable. Sleep, nutrition, and exercise dramatically affect emotional thresholds. A tired, hungry brain is a short fuse. If you want emotional stability, treat your body like infrastructure. Build rest into your schedule. Move regularly. Eat intentionally. The physiology of strength underpins every psychological victory. Finally, make purpose bigger than feeling. When your why is vivid and urgent, petty emotional storms fade in importance. Purpose orients you toward long-term outcomes rather than momentary satisfaction. When anger fires, ask, does this help my mission? When fear rises, ask, does this move me forward? If the answer is no, the emotional impulse is irrelevant. Use purpose as a sieve to filter reactions. Emotional control is not coldness, it is disciplined humanity. It is the ability to experience the full range while choosing responses that serve goals, relationships, and dignity. Be ruthless with emotional waste. The hours spent rehashing, the spats that escalate, the resentment that eats potential. Be merciful with human error, yours and others, but never negotiate with patterns that undermine progress. Strengthen these habits daily. Naming, pausing, ritual resets, boundary enforcement, narrative rewiring, controlled exposure, accountability, verbal economy, and physical maintenance. When you practice them, you do not become a machine, you become a leader in your own life. Emotional control then becomes not the absence of storms, but the mastery of sailing through them with a steady hand and unshakable direction. Persistence is the iron wall that protects your vision. Nothing else will defend your future when storms come, when critics shout, when plans unravel, and when your own fatigue screams for surrender. Talent erodes without it. Ideas die without it. Persistence is the unglamorous, brutal daily refusal to let circumstance dictate outcome. It is the habit of continuing when others stop. The discipline of making tomorrow's success pay for today's discomfort. Build that iron wall and your vision survives every test. Understand first that persistence is not stubbornness for its own sake. It is deliberate endurance directed by strategy. Many people confuse blind repetition with persistence. They keep doing the same failing thing and call it grit. Real persistence studies the problem, adjusts tactics, and then grinds forward. It is iterative, mercilessly honest, and relentlessly consistent. When a method fails, you learn, pivot, and persist with a smarter plan. When results lag, you intensify the practice, not the excuses. This is how small, steady inputs compound into undeniable outcomes. Protect your purpose like a commander protects his citadel. Clarity of mission supplies the mortar between the bricks of persistence. If your why is blurry, persistence will feel like punishment. If your why is sharp and pressing, persistence becomes inevitability. Write your purpose in one sentence. Repeat it until it burns. Let it be the metric you return to when everything else tempts you toward capitulation. A clear why transforms daily drudgery into sacred investment. It turns routine into resistance training for success. Ritualize the grind. Humans are built for patterns.